So last video, we ran Raging Bolt in our Darkrai team, but we ran Raging Bolt as a special wall / pivot who could hit very hard if needed to, because dude has a base 137 special attack, which is crazy. That's more than Fluttermane, by the way, so Raging Bolt owns Fluttermane. This video, we are running offensive Raging Bolt, so we're Calm Mind +3 stab. I had Terra Blast on here for a little bit, but I want to have Thunderbolt and Thunderclap because Thunderclap can be susceptible to getting stalled out. It's also electric, so like with ground types running around, there's just enough ways. Deoxys with pressure, there's ways to get around Thunderclap, so I wanted to have Thunderbolt in the same vein of having Calto plus Sucker Punch on King Gambit. Sometimes you can force them into a 50-50, and Raging Bolt is so strong and bulky that like those 50-50s are good to have in the same vein as King Gambit, right? So we're running Rillaboom alongside the Raging Bolt because I wanted to have that Grassy Terrain recovery, because if you can get set up and then you have the train up and you got leftovers and Grassy Terrain recovery hitting every turn, I mean, whew, especially with how much bulk Raging Bolt has, like dude can take hits. So then you're just healing a lot. So this is pretty standard choice band Rillaboom, just because dude hits like a truck, especially in terrain with Grassy Glide and Wood Hammer. We have some pivot and knockoff if needed. 252 speed Rillaboom because this team ended up being pretty slower, bulkier offense type team, and I just wanted to have some speed on there. I don't know if I really needed the speed versus like just going full HP, because I have enough priority on here, especially because I also have King Gambit. King Gambit is on here for two reasons. One, Dragon Steel type synergy. I don't have a fairy type though, so you know, I don't have a true 3-type core. Also because King Gambit in OU is just like Incineroar in VGC. If you're building a team, you just put Incineroar on it because it's the ultimate utility Pokemon. King Gambit is the ultimate like, hey yo, I need a mon for this OU team. Who would I put? Oh, Black Glasses, Terraflying King Gambit. Okay, cool. We all know what King Gambit can do. Dedicated physical wall. Hey, they gave us Gliscor back. Gliscor bros, we are so up right now. We are so back, Gliscor bros. I went Toxic over Knockoff because I have Knockoff on Rilla. I was like, hey, if I can spread some Toxic around, you know, get somebody on a timer if they set up, get somebody on a timer so I can set up my Raging Bolt. And then, you know, big physical wall, especially because Raging Bolt, well, I guess he's pretty similar here because I'm not running Assault Vest like I did on the Darkrai team. So comparable physical and special bulk for Raging Bolt. Plus, you know, Stealth Rocks, you know we got to put them up. We rounded out the team with Iron Moth and Latias. I was okay with the team being slower. That was fine. I did want to have some form of speed though. So we have two, I think, yeah, your base 110 and Latias is base 110. I settled on Iron Moth because I wanted speed and I wanted a fire type, because especially after I added Latias, I mean, there's 4 ice weaknesses on this team. Regardless, Iron Moth here. I mean, very nice coverage, hits like an absolute truck, gave me a speed tier I wanted. Resists ice is pretty much the gist of it. Latias is the same. I don't have a dedicated special wall on this team, so I wanted somebody who was bulkier on the special side. That's part of why Iron Moth is there, base 110 special defense. Latias is base 130 special defense. I'm not invested as a dedicated special wall because I'm running Choice Scarf Trick Set. Plus, Mist Ball got super buffed, so it hits really nicely. Draco Meteor is awesome. And we have Aura Sphere for like King Gambits, Ursalunas, all that. So just some good coverage, and you know, something wants to use like Taunt or something wants to use like Spikes or Stealth Rocks. Hey, trick the Choice Scarf onto them, make them basically useless. So that's the team. Mr. PNG here, star of the show. This guy might be the best Paradoxmon that they've put out, for real. I love my long neck boys. Him, Alolan Executor, big neck. You good in my book. All right, everyone, strap your seatbelts, tap in. We're doing this post-commentary style this week. Hey, first team we're going against, Sun Team. I'm looking at this, I'm like, dude, we know you want to start Torkoal. So I'm going to start Gliscor. I'm going to hit Toxic immediately because Torkoal has that Giga defense, you know? So like, I know Earthquake's not really going to pump him that hard. Get the Toxic off. We'll get the Torkoal on a timer. And then I just start playing the Gliscor game, right? I hit Protect. Use a Stealth Rock. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should have stealth rocked that turn. I'm like, whatever. We know he can't one-shot me unless he crits, obviously. So I throw my stealth rock up. He hits the lava plume. There's no crit. So I protect. We're just playing the Gliscor game. You see, he rapid spins. What's he going to do? I'm like, hey, I'm going to earthquake. See, look at that. I only did like 34%. So playing the Gliscor game worked there pretty well. Torkoal goes down to poison. We're 5 turns in. Torkoal's dead. His son's on a timer now. So I can just keep playing the Gliscor game, especially since he's sending a physical attacker and I'm Phys Def Gliscor. Protect. Get the poison heal going off. I'm like, hey, his rapid spinner is down. I mean, Great Tusk is there, right? But Torkoal's down. Let me put these puppies back up. We live on 1%. Gliscor, you did me good. Hit another protect. Knock off. We're back to 26%. Okay. So here's what I think I should have done. I end up clicking Toxic because I'm like, okay, on the off chance I live this knockoff, I want to Toxic. Sun's down, so his proto's gone. Knockoff did what? 61% with an item. And that was with the attack boost. So what I should have done here, especially watching it back, I click Toxic in case I live. I think I should have tried to double protect and then Toxic the next turn. You know, if I was trying to play like extremely optimally, I didn't want to switch anyone into the knockoff. Didn't want to risk losing items. I was okay with Gliscor going down. Gliscor put in the work there and did exactly what I needed it to do. And now what I can do here, I'm looking through, I'm searching, I'm like, oh, what do I want to do? I mean, the answer, it's bottom right, you know. Latias, Choice Scarf. We're just going to pop this thing with a Draco. He's not booster energy. He was proto attack boost Sun. So I can just drop a Draco on his head and get the kill for free. So Gliscor, I mean, absolutely put in the work. Now the rocks are out, so we're doing huge chip to his switch-ins. He can't get his Sun back up. Like, none of his guys have proto. Latias is just going to keep dropping Dracos because it's kind of the same thing here as it was when I had Gliscor out. I don't want to switch somebody into an attack when I know I can just come in later and revenge kill, so I just keep dropping Dracos with Latias, get as much chip off as possible. He's got the 2 Dragon Dances up, but I mean, I have so many ways to hit him. Like, I have the Grassy Glide on Rillaboom, which obviously isn't going to kill when he's fire. I have Sucker Punch on Gambit. I was scared to send in Gambit, though, because of Burning Bulwark. So, of course, you know, I have Raging Bolt. So what I end up doing, let me pause it here. What I end up doing, and this is the reason why I go into Raging Bolt, I go, okay, I'm Dragon type. Yes, he's +2, but there's no Sun. He doesn't have his Photosynthesis up because there's no Sun, which means his fire type attacks aren't getting boosted. So I can go into Raging Bolt, and this dude is, well, I mean, base 125 HP, like base 89 defense. You know, I didn't calc this because we play off of vibes, right? I was like, okay, I'm Dragon type. I resist the Flare Blitz, so he won't go for Flare Blitz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Terra Fairy Thunderclap. So on the off chance that Thunderclap doesn't kill, I'm immune to the Dragon Claw, and I can Thunderclap again to kill him, because 2 Thunderclaps for sure kills. Let's resume now. The Thunderclap just kills. So did I need to Terra? No. Am I okay with the Terra because it's not really going to cost me anything? Yes, because Great Tusk can't hit me for super effective damage anymore with his ground attacks. A fighting attack isn't going to hit me, and he just uses Rapid Spin to clear his rocks. And then, oh, Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt with the crit on Dragon Pulse. He just sends an Enamorus. At this point, I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can't do anything to me, right? And he can't. Enamorus just uses Earth Power, and it does 27% because Raging Bolt is an absolute tank on the field. He sends in Dragonite as his last-ditch effort. I'm just going to Dragon Pulse for super effective damage. He gets a D-Dance off. I click Thunderclap, and then I'm like, oh, wait. He's faster. He can click Extreme Speed. I was a little scared at first. I was like, wait, do I actually live the Extreme Speed? But, you know, yes, we live the Extreme Speed because it's what, base 40, base 60. He used his Terra already, so he can't Terra normal. And even if he Terra normaled, I don't think it would have killed. So A, Raging Bolt putting on a show game 1. Raging Bolt and Gliscor, and Latias for that matter. They put on a show for us. They led us to the promised land. Okay, next game, we said the Deoxys speed. You know that means we lead King Gambit. Especially since he led Deoxys, I pretty much assume right off the rip that this is utility. I'm right, he goes for Stealth Rock. So I go for Kowtow to get him to his Sash, and then I know he's gonna go for Spike, so I get the Swords Dance up, and you saw right there, I canceled the Swords Dance because utility Deoxys always carry Taunt. So it's like, okay, I get my Swords Dance up, I Kowtow him, now we have a +2 King Gambit. Right here, I get a little bamboozled. Looking back, I should have Terra Flying'd. I was scared of Mighty Cleave though. I don't really know, what Iron Bolters run. This one's Terra Fighting. Maybe they don't commonly run Terra Fighting. Either way, go into Rillaboom. I'm like, okay, I'll just Revenge Kill with Grassy Glide. I don't really want to risk going for something else in case he decides just to close combat again. And then Grassy Glide ends up doing to 40% to Dragapult on the switch. So I'm kind of just like, you know what? I'll just go for Grassy Glide again. I end up Terra Firing. My reasoning was because I was kind of scared of an Ice Beam. I don't actually know if Dragapult can even learn that move, and that's something I should probably be familiar with. It helps with the U-turn, but U-turn wouldn't have killed. He goes into Hatterene. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing because I'm choice banned in terrain, so like Grassy Glide's going to do a ton, and it does do a ton. Did 40% to Dragapult, 55% to Hatterene. It does 45% more to Meowscarada, so it's kind of just ripping through his team. Then I end up switching to Gliscor. Forgetting the key fact that Meowscarada does indeed learn Knockoff. However, Mr. Sir here gives me the gift of all time by switching into Hatterene on my Toxic, because I was like, oh, I'll just Toxic whatever comes in. I don't know if he thought I was either going to Protect or Stealth Rock. I Protect now. But yeah, so I got super bailed out for flubbing the knockoff play. And then I end up deciding, well, I'm just going to go for Earthquake. Not really wanting to switch anything into the Hatterene because Hatterene has a fat special attack stat. And then I get Custapped. And the Custap, the Custap got me good. So, I think Hatterene usually runs Life Orb. I know in doubles Hatterene usually runs Life Orb. I don't really see a lot of Hatterenes in singles, so give props to this guy. He got me with the Terra Fighting Iron Boulder. He got me with the Custap Berry Hatterene. So I just end up going into Iron Moth here, I believe, just because I need the speed. Obviously, he used Custap, so he can't outspeed me. Hatterene's really slow. So we go into Iron Moth. Now, this is where having booster speed on Iron Moth would have been a lot better than booster special attack because Iron Boulder comes back in. And because I have a special attack boost, I am not faster than Iron Boulder, but I don't want to switch something into the Mighty Cleave. So I just have to let Iron Moth go down there for free. We end up going into Lottie. The Mist Ball here is so obvious to me that I'm not going to make that play because I know an Iron Boulder at 32% will die to another attack. So I hit Aura Sphere, predicting the Meowscarada, and we got that one really nicely. He goes into Dragapult. He knows I'm Scarfed because I outspeed the Iron Boulder. Now this, let me pause this here. He crits the Shadow Ball. So I made a pretty much a game-losing mistake here, I'd say. I kind of forgot that my Rillaboom was Terra Fire, and even if it wasn't Terra Fire, I can't remember exactly what percent he's at, but it probably dies to the spikes in the rock no matter what. So instead of switching into Raging Bolt here, I should have swapped straight out into Rillaboom, just totally sacked it because Rillaboom's not going to do anything for me anyways, especially with it being Terra Fire. But because I swapped in Raging Bolt, I take a Shadow Ball for free, and he crit it, which is really unfortunate, but preventable, right? This is a complete misstep on my part. So now we resume it. I go for Thunderclap, and this is why it's a game-losing mistake. He lives on 2%. If I had sacked Rillaboom and then gone into Raging Bolt, I would have lived the Shadow Ball, and I could have clicked Thunderclap again. Instead, I get forced into a Latias endgame where I have to click Mist Ball because I can't click Aura Sphere and I can't click Draco, because by the time Raging Bolt comes in, I'm going to be like -4 special attack. But we get the kill, and then we get the kill on Iron Boulder. So now I put myself in a position where I can win, but I have to rely on Draco misses. We click Mist Ball. Does 45, which isn't a 2-hit, which is really unfortunate. Draco does miss. We get the Mist Ball, no crit. Draco hits the second time. So, big misplay with Rillaboom in a game I should have won, but it ended up still being a really close and fun game regardless. Okay, so final game here. We see the Deoxys speed, but I decide I'm going to switch it up and lead Rillaboom because I want to get my terrain up immediately. I think I also could have seen the Cinderace lead coming, but a lot of times I just assume Deoxys speed equals lead. The rule for this game is if Cinderace is on the field, then Gliscor comes back out onto the field every single time. And I'll just play my Toxic and Stealth Rock 50-50s. So this turn, hit Toxic. Nothing on the team has been Toxic yet, so it's very free. No matter what he does, someone gets Toxic, unless it misses. I click Protect to Scout because I know Rilla can pump out that big damage. He goes into Zom, which I wasn't expecting, and then I'm like, oh, well, I can just Toxic the Zom. And then I kind of forgot that a lot of Zom sets, like the Body Press Iron Defense variant, will run Substitute, so he kind of got me on that one. I'm like, whatever, let me just go Lottie on the Iron Defense. So we get that in. I'm like, okay, well, I have to hit him twice, right? I have to hit the Mist Ball to break the sub, which we do. He goes for Crunch, non-stab. Lottie's got some nice bulk to it. And I'm like, okay. I doubt Mist Ball one-shots, so, and, well, I guess he's not faster because I have Scarf. I was going to say he's faster, which he naturally is, yes, but I'm Scarfed. So we Terra Steel, the Mist Ball does 77%, we live the Crunch, so now I can get a free Mist Ball off because he either switches, which he does, or he stays in and loses Zom. We get a nice 25-24% chip on Primarina. I'm obviously not going to stay in with Lottie because Lottie will just die and only do 25% more. So that's not a very good trade. I know the Hyper Voice is coming though, and we have Big Daddy Rillaboom to resist that. Now I actually think, I think it's hard to tell if I misplayed here or not. I end up clicking Knockoff because I know he's not going to stay in, and he goes into Zom lives the Knockoff. I think a Grassy Glide, there's a chance it kills there. I don't know the calcs, we only play off of vibes. If I knew Zom was coming in, I would have Grassy Glided, or I even could have Wood Hammered something on the switch. But I don't think this turn is very consequential in the long term of the game. This turn, I don't know what I was doing, why I would ever switch Iron Moth into a Zom. I don't know if I was just like, oh, it's Body Press Zom, so like I resist Body Press and he doesn't have any defense boosts. But then I just pinned myself because Cinderace is faster than Iron Moth, and Iron Moth dies to a Fly Swatter on the physical side. Luckily, Gliscor comes in to bail us out. We know he's going to Rillaboom because the last time this exchange happened, I threw a Toxic out. So this time I was like, hey, I'll get my Rockies back up. Rillaboom ain't going to do anything. Terrain went down. The only problem is I'm also not going to do anything with Gliscor. I Protect to get the healing and to scout a little bit, but like Earthquake isn't going to do anything to Rillaboom in return, right? So, end up switching out into Iron Moth. No terrain is up, so I'm not scared of the grass type attacks doing that big damage because Iron Moth quad resists. Deoxys speed comes out. I make an extremely risky play. He goes for Psycho Boost and misses. That probably one-shots or is very close to it. But hey, it was all calculated. If I was smart, I would have just gone out into Kingambit right away. However, sometimes the risk pays off. And, we maybe got a little bailed out. Regardless. This turn, I'm going to end up clicking Kowtow. I could Sucker Punch, but I don't think there's any way he stays in. I was right. And so then he would have just got a free turn if I click Sucker Punch. I actually really liked the damage there. It did 36% to the Dawn. I was like, well, he's not going to one-shot me in return, right? So I can just Kowtow again. And I'm faster than him. So now I'm in another position where he has to switch out. He actually just switches into Zom to sack it. I don't know if he if he was thinking I would go for Sucker Punch, or if he just didn't want to switch anything else into the Kowtow, which I can understand, because now he pivots into the Cinderace for free, and I'm obviously not going to stay in against Cinderace, especially not without my Terra available since I used that on Lottie. But remember the rule of the game. Cinderace comes onto the field, so does Gliscor. This time, I call that he's not going to switch into Rillaboom. He actually court changes the rocks back to my side, and I'm like, hey, that's fine, because now your Cinderace is toxic. So I've got your Cinderace on a timer, and I got your Rilla on a timer. Now I know he's going into Rilla, so I get my Stealth Rocks up, because he's not staying in with Cinderace. So look at those 50-50s we won right there. We got the Toxic turn right, we got the Stealth Rock turn right. The only problem is, you know, I'm forced out pretty much because Gliscor isn't touching Rillaboom. So I go into Iron Moth. Like, okay, we quad resist. It's gonna hurt in the terrain, and it does. 54% on a quad resist is crazy. But we're chilling. I got Iron Moth in, so something takes a hit here. I'm pretty confident that I can stay in on the Grassy Glide. I'm also pretty confident he's banded, so the Grassy Glide isn't actually going to come out. And I could run that calc. 54% honestly doesn't seem like banded damage to me because Iron Moth is frail physically and it's grassy terrain, but you know, Rillaboom's run banned. I get the free kill on Dondozo there. Deoxys speed comes in. Unfortunately, I cannot stay in on the Deoxys speed because he is quite simply faster than me. I'm at a point where I don't need Latias anymore. It'd be nice for Cinderace, but I have other ways around Cinderace in the end game. So I sack Lottie so I can get a free pivot. I end up going into Rillaboom. We have terrain out, so I can just click Grassy Glide for free and get some chip off on something else. He goes into Cinderace, and look at that, 38% damage. That's that big choice band chip. We have to switch out. Terrain went down. If terrain stayed up, I might have just Grassy Glided again, honestly, because like it did a lot of damage, and then on top of the toxic. But hey, we know he's not staying in. I have rocks up. So like I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, is this a worthy trade? I'm faster than the Primarina because of the little bit of speed investment. Thank you, Smogon recommended spread, for giving me that speed investment. I'm like, okay, do I really need Gliscor? It's nice for Cinderace, but also Cinderace and Rillaboom are poisoned. I'm confident in him throwing off the Hyper Voice because I'm not especially defensive. I'm weak to it. So I go for the Toxic. We get the Toxic. So Gliscor, salute to you, sir. You put in absolute work this game. Left 3 dudes poisoned for my end game, and Deoxys dies on switching to rocks. I click Grassy Glide. He just sacks the Deoxys. That's fine. He's just going to pivot into Cinderace for free here. Okay, so he sends out Cinderace, and he is going to end up U-turning, which I don't think is the correct play because Iron Moth dies to Pyro Ball after rocks. King Gambit more than likely dies to Pyro Ball. Rillaboom dies to Pyro Ball, and Raging Bolt, and I switch in Raging Bolt assuming the Pyro Ball comes out. And I mean, he took 27% from U-turn. He was gonna take a nice chunk from Pyro Ball. So that, I think that's kind of a misplay on his part. I don't really need Raging Bolt at this point, so I just go Thunderclap for the chip because he's not hitting Primarina, and Cinderace outspeeds and kills. But hey, the Wood Hammer recoil plus Gliscor's Toxic takes down Rillaboom. I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm going into Iron Moth. I don't want to send in Rillaboom just yet. And then Iron Moth is just going to get sacked because he is slower than Cinderace. So this is another... Well, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered here. 1, because he has Sucker Punch. 2, I've already sent Iron Moth out multiple times. But having the speed booster on Iron Moth, I think, is better long-term for this team. I go out into Cinderace because he Libroed himself into Dark type, so I know Grassy Glide will kill. So I get a free Grassy Glide off because he either stays in with Cinderace and dies, or he switches out into Primarina and dies. He switches out into Primarina and dies. I'm choice locked into Grassy Glide, and so even though terrain's down, I just have to click it, and I'm not switching Kingambit in. And then, hey, OU Legend Kingambit, Sucker Punches to finish off the game. 37 turn Slobber Knocker, baby. Okay, so that's the Calm Mind Raging Bolt team. The Pokepaste for it right here will be in the description. And hey, you know, you liked the video, you liked me not knowing Dragapult's moveset and that it doesn't learn Ice Beam, and I didn't really have anything to be scared of other than a U-turn, I guess, right there. You know, hey, drop a like on the video. You like, or if you're like me and you like your long neck boys, a Raging Bolt, subscribe for Raging Bolt. You will make Raging Bolt very happy. He will crit all of his Dragon Pulses and never miss a Draco Meteor if you subscribe.